Hello! Hi, everybody. Hopefully somebody's around. I can tune in right now since I didn't actually ever say I was going to go live today. But today I'm going live with Facebook Live, and I've got my little note card here so that I won't get off on some kind of a tangent. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First, I wanted to talk about that I will be reviving the Red Hot Momentum brand. Now, if you remember from the past, I had a website called Red Hot Momentum. It was a blog. And on that site, we did things kind of bold. It was red. It was fun. It was witty. And then I got extremely serious and maybe a little bit stressed. And then I changed up my brand, and it was like a Zen-like kind of a thing, very calm, which I think I needed at that point in my life. And it reflected a lot about the changes in my personality, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But that's kind of the first thing. So as I start to rebrand a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit, and we start to move towards that brighter sort of thing, we're going to have some new products coming out. I'm going to revive some of the old products like Mini Camp, which was really fun to do. And there's going to just be a whole bunch of new things coming. So hopefully you'll stick around and stay tuned for that kind of stuff, because it's going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. But today I wanted to talk about two things. The first one is uncomfortable, and the second one is a realign. Notice how I can do that without turning my head. So here's the thing. I decided that my challenge for the year was going to be learn to be uncomfortable. And so that means I needed to kind of embrace discomfort. And for many of you, I suspect it's difficult, like it is for me. One of the things that I decided to do in order to sort of embrace this discomfort was to sort of just get out there and do things I'd never done before, and try to get around people that I'd never been around before, and even more importantly, people who didn't think like me. It's easy to get into a group of people who don't look like me, but it's harder to get into a place where people don't think like you. And I'm certainly not saying that you should change political parties and go run and get in one of those kinds of groups, because that's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about, though, is trying to find places where you haven't been before. So one of the things I did was I went to a poetry slam. And it was fascinating. I mean, it was just like the coolest thing ever. And, I'm glad that I did it. But in that moment, when I was there by myself, walking into this place I'd never been, and then sitting down and sitting there alone in a place where most people came with someone else. They were either there with a date, maybe, or they were there with friends, and I was one of the very few people that was there alone, if maybe the only person there alone. And it was uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. I've done things before, and it's not that I'm not used to doing things by myself, but this was really a little bit different. One, because I'm by myself, and two, because I'm in an environment I've never been in before, right? These are people I've never been around before. They're all dressed in black. I didn't blend. It was different. So learning to embrace that discomfort, learning to be the person that people are staring at, wondering, who is that person? We've never seen them here before, and, why are they here? Also, maybe just because I was by myself, and maybe because I didn't blend, I stood out a little bit, and so, therefore, I had to kind of, be okay with people looking at me. And for an introvert, that's hard, because we kind of want to just, blend into the corner, and we don't want anybody to see us. So that sort of discomfort, I think, is good. I think there's a lesson in that. It makes us a little bit braver. It makes us a little bit stronger. And I think it's something that we should all practice, because when we are building a business, we're going to be uncomfortable a lot. There's a lot of stuff that you've never done before if you've just gotten started. And even as time goes by, even the third or fourth or fifth year of having a business, you're going to experience things that have never happened before, and you won't know how to deal with them. So being uncomfortable is something you need to embrace. We all need to embrace, and finding new ways to be uncomfortable, I think, is a really, really good lesson, and I'm learning a lot. One of the things I did learn from being by myself and being cognizant enough to put my phone in my pocket, right? And not sit there and just like go through Facebook so that I wouldn't feel uncomfortable, was to kind of sit there and focus on everything around me. There was a lot to see. I mean, I had to take in the whole sort of like place that I was at, which was an unusual kind of place. It was an old house in a historic area, and it was a little bit rickety. You know, the fence was rickety, the stage was rickety, things were rickety, the music was too loud, but maybe I'm getting old. And you know, it was outside. We were sitting on these steel folding chairs, and you know, my asslet got cold. So things like that, things I hadn't noticed before, like things I would have not paid attention to had someone come with me and sat beside me and talked to me, because I would have been chatting with them and I wouldn't have been paying attention to my environment or to how I was feeling or to what I was thinking. And at one point, you know, it was all outside. So at one point I just kind of looked up, and over the fence, you know, I could see the lights of the city. I could look up and I could see some stars. And it was beautiful, really. Something I would never have noticed or taken note of had I been distracted by someone else or something else or my phone. So I am encouraging you to get out and be a little bit uncomfortable. Find something uncomfortable to do. Get out there and do it. If you're used to going to things by yourself, then figure something else out, whatever it is. I've had the opportunity to go to art lectures, the poetry slam, a film festival, an acoustic music thing. It was really incredible, and I saw like 20 different musicians get up on stage and perform. So all of that was really cool. Very, very cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is realign. So what I mean by realign or realignment is it's okay to change focus. So when we think about our businesses, it's easy to think about that we have a brand and we need to stick with the brand, and does this align with my brand, and all of that is good. It's very important. However, things change, and as time changes and you change and your customers change and your business changes, it might be time to realign. It's okay. I want to make sure that I say that it's okay to realign. One thing I've noticed is that sometimes people think you're flighty. Some people think that you don't know what you want or whatever, that you're just scattered. But that isn't always necessarily true. Sometimes we need to change our focus and we need to realign our priorities in order to better suit our needs, because over time we change and over time our businesses change. So what we think our business is at the very beginning, in the first 6 months and in the first year, it's not the same thing as in year 5 or 6 or 7. And I can say that, you know, having had a business that spanned 11 years, from the first day to the last that I was involved in it, it changed a lot. It morphed to suit the needs of the people it was serving. And I would argue that even though you don't want to change drastically, like a whole new logo or whatever, I think it's still okay to make changes and to align better with your customers, your vendors, yourself, right? I mean, I have become a lot less serious and not quite so stressed anymore. And that's due to the changes in my life. You know, I went from being a full-time 60-hour-a-week running a bricks and mortar business every single day to not. And that life was very stressful, caused me to be extremely serious, and I kind of lost sight of the fun part of myself. And so in trying to realign and be uncomfortable, I'm trying to actually get back to that kind of person, the person that was fun to be around, and certainly the one that was a lot more witty than I am now. So, so my 2 points for today really are just about being uncomfortable, trying to find some things that you can do to be a little bit uncomfortable. And the point of that is really to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because What you experience in your business the first year and what you experience in the fifth year are different, but there's never a dull moment. Stuff's gonna happen that you won't see coming. Stuff's gonna happen that you can't control. And the way in which you handle those uncomfortable times is really going to dictate how successful your business is. So, learning to be uncomfortable is a strategy and a strength that you will use constantly. And then don't forget to reassess and then realign. Sometimes things change, and change is good. So don't be afraid to sort of take in what you're doing and decide whether or not it suits you or your customers or your life anymore. Go ahead and change things up. The sky is not going to fall. So stay tuned. I'm going to be having a few more Facebook Live videos. I can see if I like it, and then I'm going to be giving you some info coming up shortly about some new stuff I'm going to be doing, and that I think is going to be a lot of fun. So everybody have a wonderful day. Take care. Thanks.